97% of men over 50 miss the exact moment a woman starts flirting with them. Not because they are blind, slow, or out of touch with the world, but because the signals are no longer the same as they were many years ago. She is not going to grab your arm and giggle like a teenager. She is not going to stare at you and say, I like you. She is not going to confidently invite you out for drinks without hesitation. Instead, she will ask a question, a soft question, a casual question, one that sounds harmless on the surface but quietly opens a door beneath it. And if you do not step through that door, it closes just as quietly as it opened. That is how these moments slip away without noise or drama. You walk off thinking it was just a nice conversation. She walks away thinking, well, I guess he's not interested. You did not say anything wrong. You simply did not say the right thing because you did not realize what she was truly asking. This is what this video is really about. These moments. These quiet questions that do not sound romantic at all, but show up as sideways looks, offhand comments, and curious little probes women use when they want to test the waters without jumping in first. Over the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through 8 subtle questions women ask when they are interested but too careful, too respectful, or too uncertain to say it directly. You will understand what she is actually asking, why it matters more than you think, and how to answer in a way that shows you are still in the game. Not chasing, not desperate, just present, grounded, and fully yourself. Because here is the truth. After 50, most men do not need to try harder. They just need to notice more. And once you do, you will start seeing interest where you once only saw politeness. You will notice warmth where you assumed there was only small talk. You will see real adult attraction where you once believed you were invisible. The first question sounds innocent, but it is one of the biggest tests she will ever place in front of you. How old are you really? It sounds playful, almost light and teasing, but when a woman looks you in the eye and asks, how old are you? And adds that small word, really, she is not asking for a number. She is asking something much deeper. She already knows you are not 30. She is not playing a guessing game for fun. What she is doing is checking how comfortable you are in your own skin. She wants to know if you carry your age like a heavy burden or like a quiet badge of honor. The way you respond tells her everything she needs to know. If you hesitate, dodge the question, or turn it into a joke about getting old, she may smile or even laugh. But inside, the energy shifts because what she is looking for is not youth. It is presence, confidence, a sense that you are still fully alive in your own life and not apologizing for the years you have lived. The men who stand out at this stage are not the ones trying to look younger. They are the ones who have made peace with their timeline. Men who can say calmly, old enough to know what matters and young enough to still enjoy the ride. Or with a slow smile, do you want my age or my attitude? I once spoke to a man named Rick. He was 64, divorced, with silver hair and a sharp sense of style. He told me about a conversation he had at a downtown jazz lounge. The woman was late 40s or early 50s, intelligent, elegant, and clearly engaged in the moment. After some easy back and forth, she leaned in and asked, so how old are you really? Rick thought he was being clever and replied, too old for you? She laughed, but not the way he hoped. He said he felt the spark fade almost immediately. Later that night, it hit him. He did not just dodge the question, he dodged the moment. That is what most men miss. These questions are not interviews, they are invitations. And when you answer them with self-doubt or self-mockery, she hears that message clearly. Under the surface, what is really happening is simple. As we age, we carry more history, more scars, and more quiet fears about whether we are still seen. Women feel that energy. And when they ask something like this, they are not curious about your age, they are curious about your aliveness. So the next time a woman asks how old you are, do not rush to a punchline. Do not treat it like a trap. Treat it like a door. Because if she is asking, she is already thinking, maybe. And your answer decides whether that door stays open or gently closes. Another question that catches many men off guard is this one: why aren't you married? At first, it can sound personal, even a little judgmental. But when a woman asks this with a soft tone and real curiosity, it is not an interrogation. It is interest wrapped in caution. She is not digging into your past just to hear stories. What she is really asking is, are you emotionally available now? Is there room in your life for someone like me? This is where many good men stumble. Some launch into their entire romantic history, talking about divorce, heartbreak, betrayal, and disappointment. Others get defensive and brush it off with a bitter laugh, saying things like, marriage, tried that once, never again. Both responses do the same thing. They quietly shut the window she just opened. She is not looking for a full explanation. She is listening to how you carry the answer. Whether you are at peace with your past or still dragging it behind you like luggage you never unpacked. A better response is simple, steady, and honest without being heavy. Something like, life kept me busy for a long time, but I have space now for something real. Or, I just haven't met the right woman yet, maybe even not yet. That small openness matters. I remember a man named Gerald. He was 67, quiet, worked with his hands, and had been widowed young. He told me about a woman he met at a community garden. They started talking about tomatoes of all things. After a while, she smiled and asked him, "So, how come a man like you isn't married?" He froze. He gave a stiff answer about how things did not work out and quickly changed the subject. A week later, she stopped coming to the garden. Later, he said, "I didn't realize she was asking because she was thinking about us. I thought she was just being polite." That is the pattern. These moments do not announce themselves. They arrive quietly, disguised as casual questions that seem harmless until you understand them after she is gone. Psychologically, this is powerful. She is feeling something but does not want to risk being vulnerable unless you show her it is safe. If your answer sounds bitter or closed, she steps back. If it sounds calm, open, and gently warm, like a man who has done the work and is ready for something new, it tells her everything she needs to know. So when someone asks why you are not married, do not give her a reason to regret asking. Give her a reason to wonder what might come next. Another question that often appears is this one: do you date younger women? This question throws many men off balance. Some hear it as a compliment, others treat it like a trap. But when a woman asks this, she is not asking about your dating history. She is quietly checking your openness. She is asking, could you see someone like me as more than just a friend? Most of the time, she is not looking for a simple yes or no. She is listening for whether you make her feel seen, respected, and not compared to some imaginary group of younger women. She wants to know if the connection happening right now matters more to you than a number on a calendar. Where men get this wrong is predictable. Some puff up and brag about dating younger women as if they are trying to prove something. Others shut it down by saying, "I'm way too old for you," cutting off the possibility before she even finishes the thought. Both responses miss the point. What she is really asking is, do I have a chance? A better answer keeps the focus on connection, not age. Something like, I don't date by age. I date by energy and how we connect. Or, I care more about how a woman makes me feel than when she was born. I knew a man named Marcus. He was 59, well dressed with a quick wit. He met a woman at his favorite bookstore. She was in her mid 40s, bright eyed, and asked him for a recommendation. They talked, laughed, and grabbed coffee nearby. Then she leaned back and asked, "Do you usually date younger women?" He paused, smiled, and said, "I like women who bring good energy. Younger or older doesn't matter much to me. What matters is that we click." She smiled, not politely, but with interest. That conversation led to dinner. Dinner turned into something more. That is the power of presence, not fumbling when the question is not really about what it sounds like. Because when a woman asks this, it is often about permission. She wants to explore the possibility without putting herself too far out there. She wants to know you will meet her halfway and not make her feel foolish for asking. At this stage of life, attraction is not about clever lines or games. It is about responding with clarity, kindness, and just enough spark to keep the door open. And when she asks if you date younger women, that door is already cracked open. What you say next decides whether it opens wider or quietly closes without a sound, standing right in front of you. And now the real question becomes this: do you step into that moment, or do you hesitate and let it quietly pass by without ever knowing what could have happened? It may feel like a normal question, something casual, something that sounds like light conversation. But when a woman looks at you and asks, "What kind of woman do you usually go for?" She is not just making conversation. She is not filling time. She is not asking out of boredom. She is observing. She is measuring. She is gently comparing herself to the picture you hold in your mind. In that moment, she is asking herself something important. Does she fit? Does she have a place in the world you imagine? This question is not about ticking boxes or meeting perfect standards. It is about possibility. It is about whether she can see herself being the woman you describe. Many men misunderstand this completely. They hear the words and answer them in the most literal way possible. They start listing traits like they are reading from a shopping list: athletic, adventurous, tall, slim, brunette, likes golf, enjoys travel, loves the outdoors, as if attraction works like ordering food from a menu. What these men do not realize is that while they are talking, she is watching closely. She is listening not only to what they say, but how they say it. She is paying attention to what their answer reveals about how they see women in general. She wants to know whether you are still chasing an image that exists only in your head, or whether you are open to a real human connection. She wants to know if you have grown with time, or if you are still holding on to ideas that no longer fit the man you are today. A stronger response does not focus on appearance or surface level traits. A better response talks about qualities that actually matter, qualities that can exist in many women, including the one sitting right in front of you. You might say something like, "I'm drawn to women who are thoughtful, curious, and who can still laugh even when life gets heavy." When you answer this way, something important happens. She can immediately see herself inside those words. She can recognize those qualities in herself if she already feels drawn to you. And if she asked the question in the first place, there is a strong chance she is already hoping she fits what you describe. I once spoke to a man named Elliot. He was 62, a retired firefighter who had lived a full and demanding life. He met a woman while volunteering on a community project. There was no pressure between them, no forced flirting. They talked easily, worked side by side, and felt comfortable in each other's presence. One afternoon, while painting a fence together, She paused and asked him, "So, what kind of woman do you usually go for?" He didn't rehearse an answer. He didn't try to impress her. He simply said, "I think I like someone calm, someone who makes a place feel peaceful just by being there." She didn't respond right away. She simply nodded and went back to work. But later that day, after everyone else had left, she stayed behind to help clean up. When Elliot thanked her, she smiled and quietly said, "I was hoping I was your type." That is the power of answering with honesty and presence instead of performance. You are not selling yourself. You are not chasing approval. You are creating space where attraction can grow naturally without force. From a psychological perspective, this question is a form of self selection. She is gathering small signals to decide whether she should move closer or protect herself by stepping back. Your answer can either confirm her interest or gently close the door without either of you saying it out loud. So the next time a woman asks what kind of woman you usually go for, do not describe a fantasy. Describe the kind of connection you value. Describe how you want to feel with someone, because chances are she is not asking as a friend. Then there is another question that often follows, sometimes sooner than you expect. Are you always this charming? It is usually said with a smile, maybe a soft laugh, maybe a look that lingers just a little longer. On the surface, it sounds like a simple compliment, but there is more going on beneath it. She is doing two things at once. She is acknowledging the spark she feels, and she is watching how you respond to that spark. This is one of those rare moments when attraction rises close to the surface. It is gentle, but it is clear. The compliment is real, but the test inside it matters more. What she is really asking is whether you can stay present without running away from the moment, whether you can accept warmth without hiding behind jokes or false modesty. Many men get uncomfortable here. They deflect, they joke, they laugh it off. Only on Tuesdays. Guess I'm just having a good day. And just like that, the energy fades. A better response keeps things light but grounded. Something like, "Only when I'm around someone who brings it out in me," or "I save it for moments that matter." When you respond this way, your tone says something important. It says, "I'm here. I see you. I'm not afraid of what's happening between us." That makes her feel safe enough to stay in the moment with you. Alan, 68, a quiet widower, once told me about a dinner party where a woman leaned toward him and asked, "Are you always this charming, or is it just tonight?" He smiled and replied, "That depends. Are you always this curious, or am I just lucky?" He told me she held his gaze a little longer after that with a look that clearly said, "Now this feels different." That question is not really about charm. It is about chemistry. It is a gentle way women express interest without placing themselves fully on the line. Your role is not to impress her or perform. Your role is simply to receive the moment without shrinking away from it. Then comes a deeper question. Why don't you have a girlfriend? It sounds straightforward, but it carries weight. At this point, she is no longer just talking. She is wondering if there is room in your life for someone like her. She is not asking about your past. She is asking about your emotional availability right now. Many men answer this question in ways that quietly shut the door without realizing it. They say things like, "I'm set in my ways," or "I like my freedom too much," or "Relationships are more trouble than they're worth." What she hears is not independence. What she hears is distance. She is not asking whether you are single. She is asking whether you are open. The strongest answer leaves space. It leaves room for possibility. You might say, "I've been waiting for something that feels real," or "I took my time, but I'm still open to being surprised." William, 71, calm and grounded, was once asked this at an art gallery. He replied, I spent time learning how to be a better man. Now I'm ready for a better kind of love. He said her eyes stayed on him after that, as if she finally felt seen. Women later in life feel fear too, fear of rejection, fear of misreading signals. Instead of stating their feelings directly, they ask careful questions like this, brave questions disguised as curiosity. How you answer tells her whether it is safe to lean in or safer to step away. And then there is the most direct question of all. Would you ever date someone like me? This is not playful anymore. This is vulnerability. Even if she smiles when she says it, there is risk underneath. She is placing herself in front of you openly and honestly. Many men freeze here, they go neutral, they change the subject, and she pulls back, feeling exposed. The best response here is not clever. It is not rehearsed, it is honest and simple. I'd be lucky to. And then you stop talking. Charlie, 66, a former military man, once told me about a quiet walk at sunset when a woman asked him this exact question. He paused, looked at her, and said, Yes, I already am, in my mind. She took his hand, and she didn't let go. These questions are never random. They are openings. They are quiet doors being unlocked. The real question is never what she asks. The real question is whether you choose to step forward when the moment is right, or whether you let it pass and wonder later what might have been.